The time I accidentally joined a cult. Okay, so picture this, it was a Saturday morning and I was nursing what could only be described as the hangover from hell. My phone buzzed incessantly on the nightstand, like it was trying to wake the dead. I finally mustered the strength to grab it, squinting through one eye at the bright screen. It was my friend Jake, texting me about some spiritual awakening seminar he wanted to check out. Normally, I'd be all for a Netflix binge instead, but the thought of fresh air and maybe some free snacks got me out of bed. I arrived at the community center, still half expecting it to be some kind of joke. But there was Jake, standing outside, looking way too chipper for someone who was just as trashed as I was last night. He flashed me a grin and said, "Hey, you ready to find your inner peace?" I rolled my eyes but followed him inside anyway. If nothing else, this was going to be good for a laugh. The seminar was being held in this big auditorium. As we walked in, I was hit by a wall of incense so strong it felt like I was being hugged by patchouli itself. People were filing into rows of folding chairs, and at the front of the room was this guy in flowing white robes. He looked like a cross between Gandalf and a yoga instructor, with a man bun that could rival any influencers. As the session began, Master Arlo, because, of course, that was his name, started talking about achieving enlightenment through something he called chakra-libration. Jake nudged me and whispered, "Sounds like a rejected transformer." I stifled a laugh, but then Master Arlo asked us to close our eyes and repeat an ancient chant. I was about to bow out when the mention of a coffee break and homemade vegan cookies perked my interest. So there I was, sitting cross-legged and chanting along like I was auditioning for a role in the next Avatar movie. And you know what? After a while, it didn't seem so bad. I was even getting into the rhythm of it when suddenly, the guy next to me started sobbing uncontrollably. Great, I thought, the chantings turned him into a human waterfall. Master Arlo paused to address the crying guy, who blurted out that he was overwhelmed by the energy in the room. "I feel so connected," he wailed, and I bit my lip to keep from laughing. I mean, I wasn't entirely sure if I was connected to anything other than my desperation for caffeine. After the break, things got weirder. Master Arlo started talking about reaching the next level of spiritual awareness and how it required a special initiation ceremony. Jake, now munching on a cookie that looked suspiciously like it was made of kale, nudged me again. He had that look in his eyes, the one he usually got when he was about to suggest something incredibly dumb, like the time he convinced me to go skydiving on a whim. "Dude, we should do it," he whispered excitedly. "Think of the story this'll make." Against my better judgment, I agreed. Maybe it was this way at a lure of potential Instagram content. Or maybe it was just the hangover still clouding my decision-making skills. So there we were, standing in a circle with a dozen other hopefuls, waiting for the initiation ceremony to begin. I kept telling myself it was just harmless fun, like a quirky escape room experience, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was about to be inducted into some kind of bizarre club. Master Arlo started the ritual by handing us blindfolds. "This is to help you focus inward," he explained. I tied mine on, feeling more ridiculous by the second, and tried not to think about what kind of spiritual shenanigans awaited me. The ceremony began with more chanting, followed by what I can only describe as interpretative dance. Blindfolded, I stumbled around, trying not to step on anyone's toes, and kept bumping into Jake, who was having a grand time of it, swaying like he was at Coachella. Then Master Arlo announced it was time for the cleansing. I froze, half expecting a bucket of water to be dumped over my head. Instead, he instructed us to breathe deeply and release our inner toxins. The guy next to me, the earlier sober, released something all right. Let's just say, the spiritual energy in the room got a bit more fragrant. Finally, the ceremony concluded with a sacred vow to always seek inner peace and harmony. I mumbled along half-heartedly, thinking more about the post-seminar pizza I planned to devour. When we finally removed our blindfolds, everyone looked dazed but oddly serene. Or maybe it was just relief. Jake turned to me with a wide grin. "That was amazing, right?" I chuckled, nodding. Sure, I thought, amazing in the sense that I couldn't wait to tell everyone about the time I accidentally joined a cult for an afternoon. On our way out, I snagged a last cookie for the road. Hey, if nothing else, the snacks were top-notch.